Please be seated. We are not a people who tend to look for signs, especially not signs in the sky, celestial signs, astrological signs, heavenly messages and messengers. We are too advanced to put much stock in signs. Our ancestors in faith were people who sought out signs, of course. Our forebears were far more adept at reading the heavens, which they took to be highly communicative, albeit often in symbol and code. The sky was a source of information, of warning, of guidance, of hope for those who had eyes to see. Children still sometimes look for messages in the sky, even as their elders have largely outgrown such pursuits. I remember lying in a blanket on the grass on boring childhood summer afternoons, looking up at the sky and trying to find figures in the clouds. And when I watched the sky long enough to have spotted a particularly figure-like cloud, it always seemed that there must be a message for me in what I saw. I so much wanted communication from the great beyond to be real. I wanted to be the recipient of privileged communication from the heavens. Later, as an adult, when I started spending some time in Vermont each summer, often adjacent to a lake, I would often go out to the dock at night, lay down on the weathered boards, and gaze up at the sky. It was such a treat to really be able to see the stars, the heavenly expanse having been made invisible in most places I've lived by light pollution, of course. Looking up at the stars, I would imagine people on the other side of the world looking up at the very same sky, bringing their own hopes and dreams into an encounter with the vast expanse of interstellar space, just as I was. How long ago had the starlight I was seeing been emitted? It boggles the mind that some of it may be hundreds of years old. All of this alternately made me feel small and insignificant, as well as deeply connected to the mystery and meaning of life. In our Christmas scriptures, we encounter both the shepherds and the magi looking up and receiving signs from the heavens. In Matthew's gospel, the only gospel to include the magi, we are told that the magi set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen in the east, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. And in Luke's gospel, the only gospel to include the shepherds, we are told that an angel of the Lord stood before the shepherds, and the glory of the Lord shone around them. The angel told the shepherds about the birth of Jesus, after which the angel was joined by a multitude of the heavenly host, singing with abandon and lighting up the sky like fireworks. After the angels left the shepherds and went back into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go now to Bethlehem and see the thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger. In both Luke's and Matthew's Gospels, then, looking to the skies helped people find their way to Bethlehem, where they would become witnesses to the Nativity. Messages from the heavens helped them to find their way to this newborn baby who was a child of great promise and hope, as prophets had foretold that the Messiah would one day be born in Bethlehem. Having spent a lot of time holding a baby this past week, visiting with my sister and her newborn son, it's a bit difficult for me to imagine these adults flocking to Jesus' birthplace with the hope of meeting the Messiah. All babies do is eat and sleep and cry and poop and pee. Hardly messianic material. But led by angels and a star, the shepherds and magi found hope enfleshed in the baby Jesus. Indeed, there is something mysterious and magical about babies. They're so new, so unformed, so trusting, so pure. It's quite easy for us to place a heap full of hope in them. Gazing at a sleeping baby, almost anything seems possible. The future feels almost completely open to them and their dreams, which is perhaps part of why God chose to come among us as a baby. Babies offer a canvas for our hope, an open future, full of possibility. Still, it takes a lot of faith to put this much hope in the stars, in the angels, and in a baby. A lot of faith to believe that this untested, unproven child could be up to so great a task as the redemption of humanity. But somehow they were able to trust the messengers from the heavens, confident that somehow the sky doesn't lie. This, then, is the fundamental act of Christmas faith. To search the skies, to look upward in expectation and hope, and to expect that something important may well be struggling its way into communication. Christmas tells us that we must look up and look beyond our usual spheres of attention and preoccupation. We must look farther and farther afield, stretching the threads of connection and compassion to discover how elastic they really are. Looking up into the skies, into the great wonder of the cosmos, helps us to look back at the child in the manger with a more cosmic kind of vision. Helps us to see in him a child of great promise. Helps us to see him even as the promised one, the Messiah, the Christ, the Alpha and the Omega. The sky can do this, can reorient us, can shift our focus, can help us see something new. But we must look up and look out. We must look even unto Bethlehem, where even now there are children who need the world to see them as children of great promise, children worth protecting, children who might yet be able to help us find our way toward peace. The sky can do this. The sky can help us traverse the distance, bridge the gap. Looking skyward with expectation and hope can shrink the cosmos into something like a neighborhood, something smaller and friendlier, where children of promise are everywhere to be found for those who have eyes to see. It's a beautiful night in the neighborhood, isn't it? A beautiful day to join the shepherds and the magi at the manger, to gaze upon the Christ child and to let the starlight reflected in his eyes be refracted into ours as hope. Hope that this might still be a world that can receive marching orders from the likes of stars and angels. Hope that this might still be a world that can believe redemption could come from a backwater like Bethlehem. Hope that this might still be a world where adults can kneel reverently before a child, and when that child points skyward, to be people who dare to follow his finger and stare bravely into the inky abyss with full expectation that signs and wonders will appear. Wonders of his love. Wonders of his love. May it be so.